My desire with this video today is for you to learn two things. One, how to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, and then 2, to leave perfectionism at the door. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and I am so very glad that you're here today. If this is your first time at my channel, I want to give you a very big warm welcome and hope that you want to subscribe, and if you like the video, to give it a like. For those of you coming back, welcome back. I've missed you. Today we're going to learn how to make a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, and then I am just showing you the process of me making a paper bag journal using a Trader Joe's bag. If this is something that you'd like to see in depth, let me know down below and I can make another video. I figured I'd go ahead and let you see the process without a ton of explanation. Once I've gathered and folded up my papers, then I'm going to decide what order they go into. I just started with the smallest first. I feel like that is a good way to start because then you can see the progression. And sometimes I'll have to cut the papers down so that they can be seen, or so the papers underneath them can be seen in more of a waterfall effect. You don't have to do this, but I think it adds a lot of charm to the journals. These sheets that are nestled into one another create what we call a signature. And in this journal, we're going to have one signature, but you can add many. And I think that the most common is 3. Something to keep in mind is whether you want your edges to be neatly aligned or if you want them to hang over or some be longer than others. To me, that adds more charm, and so I leave them at different lengths. This step is very important. You're going to want to secure the pages using a binder clip or a paper clip or a bolt clip, and that's going to prevent any movement during the stitching process. I'm not marking and then puncturing the holes, but I'm going to suggest that you do so. Measure and mark 5 evenly spaced points along the folded edge or the spine, the inside spine of your signature. You can do this by estimating, or you can actually measure it out and make sure that they're all equal. What I do is I find the center point, or what I think is the center point, and I mark it. Then I look up at the top, about an inch from the top, I'm going to mark that point. I'm going to do the same at the bottom, an inch from the bottom, mark that. And then to get the last 2 holes, I'm going to estimate what from the middle mark, from the top, and then from the middle to the bottom, and that's where my other 2 holes will go. I'm using this punch tool. It's called an owl, AWL, and you can use anything that you can poke holes with. Just be careful to keep fingers very safe. And as you could see, I added the holes on my signature first, and then using the signature, I went ahead and added the holes to the cover. For the thread, I like to measure out 3 times the length of your journal. You can use all different types of thread in order to do your stitching. In this case, I am going to be using embroidery thread that I'm going to coat with some wax. I got this wax on Amazon and I have it linked in my storefront down below. And what I do is I wrap the thread around it. There's like these little notches, and then I'm going to slowly pull the longer end of the thread through. And because it goes like nestled into the little notch, it's going to come out covered in wax. Now, what wax is really great for is a few things. First of all, it's going to go through your holes a lot smoother. It's not going to, fray or bunch up. And then also, which is the biggest bonus, is you'll be able to thread your needle a lot easier. I personally am very much a visual person, and I like to see things. I also learn by doing. And so the reason I did this video was I wanted you to really see what you're doing before you start doing it, and maybe it will help you more. Let me know down in the comments if you're also a visual learner. The first thing you need to decide is where you want your tails. I'm going to do them from the inside, so that's how we're going to start our stitching. Since we are working with 5 holes, I will call them 1 to 5 from top to bottom. We're going to start off by pulling the needle inward through your hole 3, which is the center hole. Then you are going to bring your needle outward through hole 2. Then you will pull the needle inward, skipping hole 3 or your middle hole, and go straight to hole 4. Then you're going to bring your needle outward through hole 5 and pull the needle inward through hole 4, going back up. And then lastly, we're going to bring the needle outward to the starting point where we began, back to hole 3, and now you have 2 tails. When you start your stitching, you're going to, with your non-dominant hand, hold the tail of your thread so that you can stitch without it coming undone. You're also going to want to pull on the thread, not hard enough to tear the papers, but you definitely want it to be a little taut. You're going to see in a minute that I kind of didn't do that, and so I'm going to struggle a little bit to try to tighten the thread afterwards. Another tip I wanted to give you is that when you are coming up with the needle, try not to pierce the thread. You're going to make a mess if you do. So you're going to want to make sure that the needle is coming up on one or the other side of the thread. So make sure you go slowly at this point, because you can still pull your needle back if you end up piercing the thread before you go all the way through. Are you one of those people that checks the front door a couple times before you leave to make sure that you locked it, even though you know you just locked it? Well, that's how I am with tying off the thread. I tie it more times than I really need to, but I think to be on the safe side, tie it 3 times. Once with the left crossing over the right, then the right crossing over the left, and then finish it off with the left over the right one last time. And now you deserve a big congratulations. Number 1, for sticking it through this far in the video. And number 2, now you have a new skill to put on your belt. So you can now do a successful 5-hole pamphlet stitch and make tons of journals. My favorite part, though, of course, is the decorating. So I am going to let you just watch as I decorate the cover and transform this just normal looking Trader Joe's bag into a work of art. I absolutely adore the way that it came out at the end. It even surprised me that it was as pretty as it was. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned a new skill today and that you're able to master that 5-hole pamphlet stitch. As I'm decorating, I want you to watch closely because I don't line a lot of things up properly because I'm kind of guesstimating with a lot of my measurements instead of measuring it out. And therefore, you're going to see some mistakes, but at the end, it's still beautiful. And I think those mistakes just add to the charm. Do you agree? And if you do agree with me, I hope that you agree with yourself as well, because I know that's really hard for us to do sometimes. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect or to do things perfect, and that is the joy of journaling and being able to just leave that at the door and just create something beautiful today. And if you haven't been told today, you are so loved, you are precious, you are beautiful, and I'm so thankful for you. Thank you again for being here today, for spending your time with me, and for all of your love. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Until next time, love you. Bye. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, plus the bell. You'll get notified anytime a new video comes out. And a big, big, big thank you to my Patreons. I love you guys more than I could ever say.